I should have known that night at my parents' dinner table wasn't really about family. The polished silverware, the carefully chosen wine, the familiar faces pretending warmth. It was a stage. And I, as always, was the unknowing performer. I introduced myself to Horizon's executives with a smile, still believing the dinner was a celebration of Aurora's recent progress. My firm had finally started attracting serious clients, and securing Horizon meant everything. But before I could even finish my pitch, Evelyn and Melissa, my own sisters, intervened. "Christine tends to overpromise," Evelyn said casually, sipping her glass. Melissa chimed in with a grin. "Remember last year's client who left disappointed?" I froze, blindsided. They had planted doubts with Horizon, spinning stories that twisted minor setbacks into major failures. I wanted to protest, but my parents' silence, worse, their approving nods, anchored me to my chair. I smiled through the humiliation, my fork untouched, my chest tight. Years of seeking their approval had taught me not to make scenes. But as Horizon's executives politely excused themselves, I knew something had shifted. Not in them, in me. That night, lying awake, I thought about the years I had sacrificed. 15 years of clawing for a nod, a word of validation, an ounce of respect. And yet, the closer I came to success, the more threatened my family seemed. It was no longer about earning their approval. It was about earning mine. The next morning, I walked into Aurora's office still reeling from the ambush. My team, Elizabeth, James, and the others, noticed the tension in my shoulders. "Christine, talk to us," Elizabeth urged. I told them everything. The dinner, the sabotage, the silence of my parents. My voice cracked halfway, but James leaned forward with calm certainty. "Then we fight smarter." For the first time I realized I wasn't alone. Aurora wasn't just my company, it was my chosen family. That evening I returned to my parents' home, not for dinner, but for clarity. Evelyn opened the door, her expression smug. "You should have known Horizon would see through you," she said. I looked at her, really looked. For years I thought her dismissiveness came from confidence. Now I saw the truth, fear. "You're not afraid I'll fail," I said softly. "You're afraid I'll succeed without you." The silence that followed was heavier than words. My parents appeared in the hall, but for once, I didn't beg for understanding. I simply turned and left. Walking away that night, I realized something vital. You cannot force people to see your worth when they're invested in your weakness. The next week at Aurora, we turned pain into purpose. James gathered reports proving our reliability. Elizabeth reached out to every vendor, reminding them of the trust we had built. And I went directly to Horizon. No dinners, no family introductions, just me, my team, and our work. I sat across the conference table from their executives, the Manhattan skyline glowing behind them. My heart pounded, but my voice was steady. "I know concerns were raised about Aurora," I began. "I've brought evidence to address each one. We don't run from mistakes. We learn, adapt, and deliver." I laid out our revised proposal, backed by hard data and real stories of our resilience. For every doubt my family had planted, I presented proof stronger than rumor. When I finished, there was silence. Then one executive smiled. "Christine, this is exactly the leadership we want to partner with." Walking out of that building, I didn't feel vindicated, I felt free. For years, I had measured myself against my family's shifting approval. But in that moment, I realized my worth had never depended on them. Back at Aurora's office, celebration buzzed in the air. The Horizon contract was officially signed. For our small firm, it wasn't just a win. It was the moment we stepped onto the national stage. We toasted with sparkling cider, laughter echoing through the office. Elizabeth hugged me tightly. James raised his glass. "To Christine, the leader who showed us that storms don't break us, they reveal us." As the celebration wound down, I received a text from my mother. Another dinner invitation. For the first time, I didn't hesitate. I sent a polite note back. "Thank you, but I'll be working late." Later, I heard through a colleague that Evelyn and Melissa's reputations had begun to fray. The industry had a way of uncovering truth, and their attempt to sabotage me had backfired. I felt no joy in it, only a quiet sense of justice. That night, I stood by my office window, looking out at the glowing Manhattan skyline. 15 years of yearning for approval had led me here, not to their acceptance, but to my own awakening. I was no longer the daughter bound to the kitchen, waiting for a seat at their table. I was a CEO who had built her own.